Alright guys, we are being told about a potential terrorist attack that is expected to take place in the United States of America around the Christmas, Hanukkah, or the New Year's time. They say that it's going to have something to do with our infrastructure, and it could just be an outing of how deep we are into a Chinese attack on all that we have. Now, Russia and China are said to be working in coordination with some type of space event that would wipe out the infrastructure of the United States of America, or at least make our military capabilities incapacitated for some time. We're just going to have to wait.
We have YAH being asked an important question as to what would bring down America. What would be the one thing that would bring down America and kill the most people in a horrific event? And when asked what the most likely scenario would be, YAH has responded by predicting that an enemy would create an EMP explosion over Kansas or over the middle of the country, resulting in 91% of Missouri's population and the surrounding states there to perish. Now, this is new news to some, but this isn't all too news to others. We've expected, through kind of the same thought process here of what would be the most advantageous way for someone to take down America. An EMP would be the way, without firing a single shot besides the EMP. Everyone would be left to fend for themselves inside of a country that has collapsed. No money, no gas stations, no nothing would work. And they say here in this that the enemy would detonate an EMP bomb 250 miles over Kansas. They say that NORAD in Colorado Springs would become the only government facility to maintain power.
More action in the skies last night, especially above the United States. This was spotted by David Spoon above Mayflower, Arkansas. Here's video footage, 12/21 of 2024, when something was spotted above multiple states entering the atmosphere, leaving behind a fiery debris trail. This was a video sent in by David out of Mayflower, Arkansas. And the story goes, this is a Chinese satellite re-entering the atmosphere. This was spotted above multiple states: Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri. This footage here you're looking at came out of Arkansas. You can see this was a very large debris field, almost appearing to be very low to the ground at one point. Here's when it was at its peak, and you can see the bright gold and orange streaks through the sky that were impossible to miss if you were outside and just happened to be looking up. And I also have more video footage out of Tennessee, Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. Video footage here by Carrie that has narration. Video taken at 10:15 last night.
What is that?
Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyre, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord God, thou
That is
settest up the
seriously
sun,
something
and full of
burning up into
wisdom,
the
and
atmosphere.
perfect in beauty, the
Holy
serpent
shit.
amongst the two trees.
And you can tell by the sound of her voice when she first saw that she was kind of startled. I mean, this thing was very bright, appeared to be quite large at the beginning, and now you can see it's breaking up into many smaller pieces. But at first it looked like a huge fireball entering the atmosphere. I thought maybe it had something to do with the drones when I first started looking at the video footage, because the drones have been dominating the skies here recently, from coast to coast across the country, even down into Australia. But here's the official story. Chinese satellite burns up over Louisiana, visible across the region. And there was a video out of Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, and quite possibly Missouri. This occurred last night, once again around 10:15 p.m. I've also got some more drone footage. I'm assuming this is drone footage, guys. I don't know, but it's just too weird not to share. Here we go. This video was just sent in. I got this less than 24 hours ago, but the video's from December 19th at around 8 p.m. sent in by Josh out of Lebanon, Tennessee. And I'm assuming this is a security camera that he has on his house. Watch what happens right here. I mean, this is super weird. This just keeps getting more bizarre by the day. Watch what this thing does. Are you serious right now? That thing just stopped on a dime in the sky, made a 90-degree left-hand turn, and then made a 90-degree right-hand turn. What? I mean, that's impossible, but it did it. I mean, this is getting wild. Stopped on a dime mid-flight. So he got to tracking it again right here. And there's the object, whatever it may have been. It wasn't an airplane. Don't believe it was a helicopter. I don't think helicopters can make maneuvers like that, what we just saw. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the video. In fact, we're going to step it forward because the object doesn't do it again the remainder of the video. He followed it for about a minute, and then it disappeared out of the field of view. You can see it going behind some trees. And going back to the beginning of the video, I'm going to zoom in and we're going to take a close look at what this thing did in the sky. Check it out. Stops, makes a left-hand turn, and then makes a right-hand turn. How does a flying machine do that mid-flight? Like it put on the brakes. Those things don't have brakes like that. Are you serious right now? Here it is again in a different format. I was just trying to see if there were any recognizable features on this thing, and there weren't. There were two points of light, and this thing had the ability to stop on a dime right there, mid-flight, make a hard left-hand turn, and then right there it made a hard right-hand turn. 90-degrey turns, mid-flight. Unbelievable.
Hurry! Hurry! Is it really? Yeah. Oh, look at this. Hurry, look.
Late Saturday night, an extraordinary celestial event unfolded across parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Alabama, with many fortunate witnesses describing it as a breathtaking and surreal experience.
Y'all see that?
Yo, that's a meteorite.
What the freak? Oh no, is that the It's a shooting star, you said?
That's a meteorite breaking up. That's a meteorite breaking up. It's breaking up.
Bright, slow-moving objects illuminated the night sky, creating a dazzling spectacle that experts have identified as likely space debris re-entering Earth's atmosphere.
Is that a meteor shower?
Look at that! Yo, that is something burning up! Yo!
The event occurred just after 10 p.m. and was visible across multiple states. While no official confirmation has been released, experts have suggested a strong connection to the planned re-entry of 4 Starlink satellites slated for this weekend.
What is that?
Initial speculation suggested the luminous objects were meteors, but experts quickly dismissed this theory due to their slow and deliberate motion. Unlike meteors, which streak through the atmosphere at incredible speeds, the objects exhibited a gradual pace more consistent with man-made debris.
Current generated from this geomagnetic storm.
There's this giant red planet storm in America all through the late 50s about this thing out there.
They know this event is coming. Planet X, a comet, asteroid, or all of them. And if it does, and when it does, it could kill half the world's population in 6 months.
Back in the 1950s, most people aren't aware of it, but there was a scientific storm in America all through the late 50s about this thing out there in space because the astronomers were all watching it, and that was back when they weren't afraid to talk about it.
It's such a different way to think about it in the fact that no one talks about this. Talk about misdirection. If this is something that's coming and they know it, this is why they built all the bunkers. Very interesting to go hide in, of course, but not for us, right? Not the peons. Then it would be as a thief in the night if no one's ever discussing it, no one's talking about it, and anyone that does talk about it never talks about it again.
It was in the science magazines. I mean, I had a subscription to like Popular Science, and hell, it was on the front cover of the magazine one day in like 1961. And I was really excited when I saw it, because here's this giant red planet on the horizon of the California coast, and a humongous tidal wave coming in towards the coast, and having grew up in the mountains of the Sierras, and this thing in the magazine, it said this tidal wave coming in was going to be at least 3 miles high, and I went in and showed it to everybody in the house, and they laughed, and they said, look, it says right here, there's nothing to worry about. It won't be here for another 50 years. Hey, guess what? That 50 years has came and gone, and this baby's out there in the sky. They've been watching it. I watched it, and I can tell you, this thing has got so much trash coming around it. You know how we live in a solar system? We've got 9 planets and a big sun. This thing has got 7 planets and its own sun. But I believe that instead of having dirt on it like our planet does and water, I think this thing is just a big, bright reddish-orange iron ball, because it's giving off all this red iron oxide dust out into the atmosphere. When we thought at first it was just a teeny little red speck of fuzzy red dust in the distance, but over the years as it went by and we watched it, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then finally about 2008 we could see this thing like it was across the street, and we could see that it was a blazing hot ball of fire giving out sparkles of red iron oxide dust for thousands of miles in every direction, and you could see the planet circulating it. Now, I'll tell you one thing that I really am nervous about. I think this thing's got a planet like ours circling it. This is its own solar system. We're about to have a solar system come through the middle of our solar system. This can't be good.
In 1859, there was a geomagnetic storm so big that the aurora was visible in Hawaii.
Holy shit. Wow.
They had telegraph systems. Some of the operators were reported to be able to send messages even when they weren't plugged into their batteries. They were just using the current generated from this geomagnetic storm. This thing was the largest geomagnetic storm in recorded history. It was called the Carrington event. A solar superstorm like this is not unusual. It could happen again today, and it would be way worse, like way worse. It would cost more than the top 10 natural disasters in the US combined to recover from. So yeah, these solar superstorms are getting more and more likely leading up to 2025.
But unfortunately, it looks as though that's what's going to happen. Hopefully nothing in this mess will hit us, even though it does say it will in the Bible, at least as it does in my Bible. It says we can expect all kinds of problems. We were looking at asteroids. Right close to this thing, there's asteroids that are floating around right near the, that are orbiting the main sun itself. These things appear to be about 500 miles across, and as you go back into the tail, you get into meteorites that go back for millions of miles in the tail. This thing looks like a giant red teardrop-shaped dust cloud, and you can see once if you're able to see it up close like we did, you can see every speck out there. I guarantee you, there's trillions of meteorites following this thing. Now, these CIA people that I know say that we're not going to be that close to it when it goes past us. They're saying that in order to attain breakaway speed, when it comes up around the backside of the sun, its speed will at least double, possibly more, which will put it here earlier than everybody is saying it will. And that this thing will probably be about 20 million miles from us when it crosses in front of us. And then as soon as it flips us upside down, we're going to go into its debris-filled tail and be pelted with meteorites. And of course, in the Bible it says they will talon 70 pounds. So if you've got 70-pound meteorites falling like hail, and I can guarantee you they will be falling like hail because there are that many in the tail of this thing. This thing has got a tail loaded with trash. I mean, It's incredible the amount of stuff that's in this thing's tail. And we're going to go right through that tail, and if it doesn't beat everything on the surface of the ground into a flat putty, I don't know what it'll take. I tell everybody, you better be at least 20, 30, 40, 50 feet underground and have either concrete or stone above you, because it'll break through the roof of whatever you've got if you don't. These CIA guys told me that this pole shift will probably happen from start to finish in around 28 minutes. That doesn't give you a lot of warning. When you see that thing out there in the sky, you're going to have to run as fast as you can to your underground facility, because this is going to happen so fast. Now, see, here's another thing that we're talking about. You've got this giant iron planet that they say is 47,000 miles across, getting ready to come up past us, and when it starts to approach us, it's going to start and have real serious effects.
So is it a planet or a failed star?
Have I spoken? Surely
it's not a failed star. I saw this thing up close. It did not look like a failed star. It looked just like our sun.
Right.
Okay. Would you call our sun a failed star?
No. Okay. Well, you had said planet. I wasn't sure if it was like a failed star brown dwarf or a full sun. So it's a full sun.
It looks to me like a miniature sun, just like the one we have. The only difference is our sun is giving off flames and stuff, and this one's doing the same thing as it, but it's giving off this red iron oxide cloud of dust around it, and until it got close, we couldn't even tell what was in there. We could see it was hot, and it looked like it was just a dull red when we were first able to discern it through the red cloud, but as it approached, it started to become more apparent that this thing is just orange hot. I mean, to tell how hot it is, I was told that they estimated between 5 and 10 million degrees, but I don't really know, if that's right or not. I mean, it's got to be pretty hot, because it's sending all of this red iron oxide dust out into space around it,
right.
And it's got this enormous, and I mean enormous, at least 50 or 100,000 miles on each side of it, this red dust cloud that goes all the way around it. I know when we were watching it, as it started to make the upward swing to approach behind our sun, it was amazing. The red dust cloud settled down. Instead of being round, it started to settle down into a V, like wings, upside down wings. Right. And I thought, boy, I wonder if that's where the ancient Sumerians got the idea this thing had wings, because centrifugal force is a funny thing. When it comes back up around the planet, when we see it in the sky, my guess is it's going to look like it's got wings, because centrifugal force is going to be pulling the red iron oxide dust and particles out to one side.
Gotta send my prayers every day, top friends. 20 to the town, but running together, lady, we're looking at the stars. What's the answer? Asking sight we are part. Hebrew Israelites, that's who we are.
Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks, make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, Yahuwah Sebaot is his name, the Holy One of YAH'el. Sit thou silent, and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Therefore hear now this. Thou that art given to pleasures, that dwelleth carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am,
and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm it, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee, with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants, from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter. None shall save thee.
Oh na na na, notice production. Got a thing turn up loud now.
For I will at this time send all my plagues upon thy heart, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people.
Me see those who will analyze life, them and no breed and no move right. It's like them don't have no love for now. I stretch out my hand that I may smite thee, and thy people with pestilence, and thou shalt be cut off from the earth. And in very deed for this cause have I raised thee up, for to show thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth.
The graph below shows that in 2013, among men, Caucasoid men had the highest rate of getting melanoma of the skin, followed by American Indian, Alaskan Native, Hispanic, Asian Pacific Islander, and then at the bottom they'll say black men. But I'm going to show you, you're going to see there's actually none for black men. Among women, white women had the highest rate of getting melanoma of the skin, followed by Hispanic, American Indian, Alaskan Native, Pacific Islander.
If you look at the statistics in Israel, in the actual land of Israel today, them white people ain't the real Israelites over there. Skin cancer is at 60% in Israel. All right? So let me play this. This is very interesting, very powerful. And the Most High is speaking right now.
As the heroin epidemic continues to sweep across the country, a group in Seattle wants to set up safe houses to give addicts a place to shoot up with supervision.
When there was a drug issue in the African American community, we were prosecuted, we were put in jail, children were put in foster care, families were ripped apart. It was treated like a criminal justice issue. We had Rockefeller drug laws. Our jails were filled with men and women that looked just like me and people from the 43rd Assembly District. But now, we have an opiate issue. It is affecting another demographic, and now it is a health issue. And now we have to put money into diverting individuals from prison into treatment.
Now, of course, anytime you speak of black people getting anything, it's always a fight, it's always an issue, there's always a problem. But that's okay. You know, you can do it willingly or you don't have to do it at all. But for what I'm seeing happening in America, the plagues that's constantly going on, it would be a lot easier to actually do it willingly, but that you deal with God on that one.
Almost 2/3 of all gun deaths in the United States are from suicides, according to this study in the Annual Review of Public Health. And of those, most of them are white males.
And the only reason why they are having concern, because this mysterious disease is only attacking white people. And based on my research, some of them have actually died.
You're an inferior man on this planet. You're an inferior. I don't want to be in place of Most High. We're not white. Place of Most High. We're not white. The white man is dying a slow death. That's all. This is what you black people don't understand. The white man is dying a slow death right before your eyes. The very air that he breathes is destroying him. Why? Because he is inferior based on his biological process of how God made him. God made him. Where's his melanin? Pigmentation and melanin protects you from the sun's rays. It protects you from the cool air.
Well, a medical mystery is being investigated in Montgomery County. It's a lung infection that has been linked to water.
Health reporter Stephanie Stahl says the illness is rare, but the number of patients is growing.
The unlikely victims are white, thin, postmenopausal women who live in affluent neighborhoods around the main line.
It's frightening, I think.
We're at the end of the time of the white world to dominate black people and original people all over the planet. Can't you see that? Can't you see that the God of justice is whipping the hell out of America with the storms, with floods, with hail, with hurricane, with tornadoes? Can't you see that things are happening?
Word from the God of Israel on this Shabbat, on this Sabbath day. Either you let his people go, or you're going to have him to deal with.
So what does that do? That allows the passing of the cup and the transition to happen. So now that the transition is happening, what is that? He is taking away the plagues and the curses off of Israel because we are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and he's giving it to not one nation, but he's giving it to all nations that offended us, that were against us, that injured us.
Yes, we are the true children of God. I know that because only the true children of God would be hated that much. I know that the scriptures have said it so many times. I get that. And this is why the judgment is starting to hit now. It's going to increase. Think about that.
The book of Isaiah 51:21. Therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Verse 22. Thus saith thy master, the Most High, and thy Elohim that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thy hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. Verse 23. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over.
So here you have the Most High looking down and understanding his children are being afflicted. In Isaiah 51:21, he says, hear now this, thou afflicted. He says to his children, to the children of Israel, behold, I have taken out of thy hands the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt drink it no more again. But what does the Most High say after that? He says, I will put it in the hands of them that afflict thee, which say to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over thee, and thou hast laid thy body as the ground. So the Most High is beginning to take up defense against these heathen for the sake of his people.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 25, verse 15. For thus saith the Most High, Elohim of Israel, unto me, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all nations to whom I send thee to drink it, and they shall drink and be moved and be mad because of the sword that I will send among them.
So in Jeremiah 25 and 15 through 16, the Most High says, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all nations to whom I send thee to drink it. Okay, so the Most High is transferring the curses that were put on Israel, or that cup that Israel had to drink from. He's transferring it over into the heathens' hands, and he's causing every nation to whom he sent Israel, where they were scattered, to drink of that same cup that Israel had to drink of.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey.
Okay, so Jeremiah 30 and 16 gives that example of the cup being transferred. It says, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So didn't these heathen devour Israel? Didn't these heathen become adversaries towards Israel? Didn't they take us into captivity? Didn't they spoil us? Didn't they have us as a prey, killing our people? So the same things that they did, the Most High is going to return the recompense upon their own head.
You're reaping what you've sown. Your children are reaping what our forefathers sowed into their lives, which was destruction, murder, strife, slavery. And you think for a moment that a just God is going to stand by and not allow justice to come forth?
Over and over, it's become the iconic footage. Students running from a school with their hands up. Columbine, Sandy Hook, and now Parkland. School shootings so familiar they go by just one name. Images that look so similar, and yet each time, new families are ripped apart. According to Everytown for Gun Safety, this is the 18th time a gun was fired on school grounds this year.
The incident in Oregon marks the 74th shooting on a school campus since the December 2012 mass shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, and the 37th school shooting so far in 2014.
U.S. middle-aged white Americans with relatively low education are experiencing rising mortality from alcoholism, drug addiction, and suicide. Now that's all at the same time that every other racial and ethnic group somehow has decreased, but this has increased. So something has gone terribly wrong.
So breaking news to my white family out there. The real enemy is you. The real enemy is you. And you want to stop the blood that's going to be shed all over your land and in your homes and in your schools and in your towns and in your villages? Then you better start paying attention to yourself. It's your people. It's you. You're the enemy. Look at your track record. Look at your history. And you think that's not going to come back on you?
When the Most High was using this type of language, such as a mighty hand and stretched out arm, that he meant plagues, those were past events. So now we're going to look at current and future prophecy of the plagues and see if that type of language is used also to describe future deliverance of Israel.
Of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 33. As I live, saith the Most High Elohim, surely with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out.
Just to paraphrase, he's basically going to plead with Israel the same way that he pleaded with our forefathers in the land of Egypt. Now we know when he pleaded with our forefathers, they were dying for their sins. At this point, there is no more grace for Israel. If you sin, you will die. It is at this point that we will go into a new covenant.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
Okay, so Ezekiel 20 and 37 says, I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Okay, time to rattle some Christian cages here. Contrary to Christian doctrine, we are not in the new covenant. Not only that, but the Most High didn't make a covenant or an agreement with everybody. And anybody disagreeing would be hard pressed to find a scripture specifically outlining where the Most High says he would make a covenant with anyone other than the children of Israel.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
Okay, so we're going to read Jeremiah 31 and 31. And it says, behold, the days come that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. We don't see any other nations being mentioned here, but let's keep going.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Most High. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Most High, I will put my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Most High, for they shall know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Most High. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more.
Okay, Jeremiah 31 and 32 says that the covenant won't be according to the covenant that he made with our forefathers. In Jeremiah 31 and 33 it says, but this should be the covenant that I would make with the house of Israel. We still don't see any Gentile nations being mentioned. The specifics of this new covenant says in 31 and 34, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Most High. For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them. The fact that we still have discussions concerning the Most High's commandments and his laws tells you that we're not in the new covenant yet. The fact that people are still willing to lie and not tell the truth that the so-called African Americans that were brought over into America as slaves are actually Israelites tells you that we're not in the new covenant. Okay, so let's finish taking a look at what will happen while we're in the wilderness.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Most High.
Okay, so Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 38 says he will purge out from among us the rebels and them that transgress against him. The Most High says that he's going to bring them out of the countries where they sojourn, but they're not going to make it into the land of Israel. The same thing happened when the Most High brought our forefathers out of the hands of the Egyptians. Those that were disobedient to the Most High died in the wilderness. So let's take a look at some of the things that people may be doing when they get in the wilderness.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, the Most High will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Most High plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Most High shall be many. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Most High.
Isaiah 66 and 15 says the Most High is going to come like a whirlwind to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. And in the next verse it says, for by fire and by his sword will the Most High plead with all flesh. You see, the Most High is not going to be begging you. Him pleading with you does not mean he's going to be begging. It says in the slain of the Most High shall be many. So at this point, if you go against his word, you would die for it. It says, they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together. So we all know if you're sanctified, that means you're a saint. Or purified, that means you're clean. There's only one people that are saints to the Most High. This is speaking on Israel. So you see in the wilderness, this is probably going to be people still identifying themselves as Christians, going about trying to eat swine's flesh. And those that do will serve as an example to don't do it. So the only thing left to speak on now is what is required of us in order to come back to the Most High. What must we do in order to receive mercy from the Most High, that he may deliver us out of our captivity? The answer to that is simple. We must repent. And in order to do that, we must put down our pride. One of the clear indications of pride is strife and division. But let's see what the scriptures say we're supposed to do.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 51, verse 12. I, even I am he that comforteth you. Who art thou that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that should die, and of the Son of Man that should be made as grass? And forgettest the Most High thy Maker, that hath stretched forth the heavens, and laid the foundations of the earth, and hath feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor? The captive exile hastened that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. But I am the Most High thy Elohim, that divided the sea, whose waves roar. The Most High of hosts is his name. And I have put my words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee in the shadow of my hand, that I may plant the heavens, and lay the foundation of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Most High the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling, and wrung them out.
Look, brothers and sisters, in Isaiah 51 and 12, the Most High says that he's our comforter, and that we shouldn't be afraid of any man. But in Isaiah 51 and 13, the Most High tells us that we forgot about him. The Most High says we forgot about him because we fear our oppressors. But we forgot that they don't have any power over us, only the power that he gave them. In Isaiah 51 and 17, the Most High says, awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which hath drunk at the hand of the Most High the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunken the dregs of cup of trembling, and wrung them out.
Zephaniah chapter 2 verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as a chaff, before the fierce anger of the Most High come upon you, before the day of the Most High's anger come upon you.
This last scripture in Zephaniah, when I was reading it, it was entitled Judgment on Judah's Enemies. In Zephaniah 2:1, it's plainly put, it says, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. In Zephaniah 2:1, we're instructed to gather together. But not only that, as you read further, look what it says. It says, before the decree bring forth, before the fierce anger of the Most High come upon you, before the day of the Most High's anger come upon you. So the Most High is telling us to gather before he brings these plagues. In Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 33, it says that the Most High will rule over Israel with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm with fury poured out. This is describing Israel going under the bond of the covenant. So what we're going to do is go to the next verse in 34. And it says, and I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye were scattered with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm with fury poured out. Okay, so we know this is future prophecy because this is after the dispersion of Israel. Notice, because we were not dispersed into all different countries or scattered into different countries when we were in captivity in Egypt or in Babylon, or while we were in captivity to the Persians. Nevertheless, you see that same language being used that was used to describe our deliverance out of the land of Egypt. So what does it mean now? What does it mean for today? The precepts would show that it means exactly what it meant then, and that there is no new thing under the sun. All the wars, disease, and famine, all the social injustice, all the spiraling down of the economy is the doing of the Most High. All these things are culminating to prepare us to leave this place.
To be serving the Most High God, but they're really serving Jesus, aka Lucifer. They're Lucifer lovers, making them Luciferians. And due to the fact that Lucifer, aka Jesus Christ, and Paul of Tarshish and the New Testament, those in the New Testament, have their minds so jacked up with so much confusion and so much garbage, I wanted to explain the title a little better. Okay? Just wanted to explain that a little better. Because the whole purpose of the title was to expose the lies that are in the New Testament.
Professor Hassner reviewed detailed records from the Inquisition's tribunal in Toledo, dated 1575 to 1610. Based on these, Hassner concluded that torture was used on 12% of the defendants, of which less than 1/3 released a confession as consequence. The aim of Professor Hassner's research is not to exculpate the Inquisition from their sin of applying corporal punishment on defendants, but rather to show how tightly codified the use of torture was, both in its methods and its intended objectives. First, let's discuss those methods. Secular European tribunals at the time employed a wide array of torture implements and techniques. These were brutal and imaginative, ranging from whips to the application of hot bricks or hot irons to the groin to the use of contraptions to break victims' bones. In contrast, the Spanish Inquisition relied on only 3 forms of torture, considered to be the least harmful, relatively speaking, of course. These were the potro, the strappado, and the toca. The potro was a rack on which the victims were stretched by pulling a thick rope which was twisted around their arms and cut into their flesh. The strappado was a type of pulley which vertically suspended victims by their wrists, often resulting in dislocated limbs. Finally, the toca could be described as a type of waterboarding in which jars and jars of water were poured into a victim's mouth. Through the use of these torments, inquisitors did not expect victims to confess that they were actually Muslim, Jew, or heretics.
This is why you need to know about the Spanish Inquisition's hidden racism. The Spanish Inquisition wasn't just about religion. It targeted Hebrews, especially those with swarthy complexions and distinct traditions. Ever heard of conversos and Marranos? Conversos were black Hebrews who converted to Catholicism, while Marranos secretly kept their Jewish faith. Not only were they persecuted for their beliefs, but also for their skin color. Racism and colorism were rampant. Hebrews held key roles in commerce and government, which made them even bigger targets. The church feared they'd revert to Judaism, leading to expulsion and even deportation to Africa. This wasn't just about religion, folks. Anti-black sentiment made them vulnerable during the Inquisition. Lighter-skinned converts had it a bit easier, but the darker-skinned Hebrews? They faced harsh discrimination and were caught in racial hierarchies. And let's not forget, many were deported to North Africa and the Sahel, setting the stage for the transatlantic slave trade. That's a hidden chapter of history we can't ignore.
Why does it state that they were guilty of revisionism? Well, we must first understand the meaning of the word revisionism. And the Cambridge Dictionary defines the word revisionism as asking questions about and trying to change existing beliefs about how events happened or what their importance or meaning is. So the impostors who call themselves Romans tried to change existing beliefs about how Rome was established. Instead of admitting that there were a so-called black people called Etruscans who established Rome, who built Rome, who were the ancient, original, and true Romans, what they did is they rewrote the history of Rome, where Rome was now created by these two twins who spent their childhood sucking the tits of a wild wolf. How dare they? Quote number 2 says, "There is little doubt, though, that the Etruscans did found Rome, or that almost all of their material culture was adopted by the Romans, meaning that these black Etruscans, who were the original Romans, they founded Rome. They were destroyed by the impostors, by the children of Lucifer, and all their culture was stolen. And these people went as far as to steal their name and dared to call themselves Romans. Just as they adopted Greek culture, they call it adopting. It's actually stealing. Everything that the children of Lucifer have is something that was stolen. There's nothing original about them. Quote number 3 says, Etruscan culture absorbed by Rome. They have all these nice little words like adopted and absorbed. Well, what they really mean is that these people were put to death. They were slain. The men were killed. They were completely destroyed and exterminated. Everything was stolen from them, and even their identity was stolen by the children of Lucifer. That's what it means when it says it was absorbed by Rome. Has also contributed to the development of European civilization, although its presence has been hidden and its voice silent. So again, in plain English, what this means is that the culture of these black Romans was stolen by the impostors who exterminated the black Romans, the true Romans, the original ancient Romans, and then these impostors referred to themselves as Romans. And it is this civilization that was adopted throughout Europe by the impostors and their children. In the meantime, the presence of the true, original, ancient, black Romans has been hidden from the rest of the world. This is the same thing that the children of Lucifer did to the true Israelites, who are dark-skinned or so-called black people. Now that we know that it was the children of Lucifer and not the original Romans who defeated the Greeks, let's continue to examine the interpretation of King Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Daniel chapter 2 verse 43. Daniel chapter 2 verse 43 says, "Whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with earthenware, they shall be mingled with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave together, as the iron does not mix itself with earthenware." Let's go to another Bible commentary, another Christian Bible commentary. And I choose to use this commentary to show that I'm not making this up. "And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men." Various explanations have been given of this verse, and it certainly is not an easy interpretation. Now, I disagree with this as well, because it's actually quite clear what this means. It says that they, meaning the people represented by the iron, who we know is the fourth kingdom, who are the children of Lucifer, shall be mingled with the seed of men. That's not deep. But let's keep reading. The phrase seed of men would properly denote something different from the original stock that was represented by iron. So the seed of men is completely different to the fourth kingdom, which is the children of Lucifer, which is the original stock that was represented by iron. It continues, "Some foreign admixture that would be so unlike that, and that would so little amalgamate with it as to be properly represented by clay as compared with iron." So the clay is referring to the seed of men, and the seed of men is so unlike that which is represented by iron that they're compared to clay and iron that do not mix well together. Again, the stock of Lucifer, meaning the children of Lucifer, is very different from the rest of the world's population. We are so different that mixing with them is like mixing iron with clay. So the commentary uses the word stock. The phrase seed of men would properly denote something different from the original stock that was represented by iron. What is the meaning of the word stock? The Merriam-Webster dictionary defined the word stock as the descendants of one individual, family, or lineage. Example of European stock. So the scripture clearly says that the kingdom represented by iron, which is the descendants of one individual, and that individual is Lucifer, would mingle with the seed of men. Contrary to what is stated in the Christian Bible commentary, this is quite easy to interpret. The seed of men is represented by clay. The stock of Lucifer is represented by iron. Knowing that the Most High hates mixing, the children of Lucifer constantly push the agenda to mingle or mix with the seed of men. First, this was done by force, where the world's population was violently raped by the children of Lucifer, who then set up their caste system of white supremacy. This is why wherever we go in the world, there is this idea that the lighter your complexion, the higher your value. Nowadays, this intermingling is done by persuasion. We are so heavily bombarded by images of interracial couples on TV and on the internet that most people are now convinced that interracial marriage is a good thing. By encouraging the rest of the world to mix their seed, the children of Lucifer can mingle with the seed of men without other nations becoming suspicious of the agenda. In the New World Encyclopedia, under the heading Intermarriage and subheading Intermarriage Today, it says, Views towards interreligious and interracial marriage have evolved considerably over time. What was once an unthought of transgression against one's family and culture is now commonplace. So mixing your seed with a foreign people was once thought of as a transgression or sin against one's family and culture. But nowadays, this practice is celebrated because of the children of Lucifer. To learn what the Holy Scriptures say about this now common practice, please listen to my teaching entitled, Are Interracial Marriages Wrong? That is, Are Interracial Marriages Wrong? Daniel chapter 2 will continue from verse 44. It says, And in the days of those kings, the God of heaven shall set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and his kingdom shall not be left to another people. But it shall beat to pieces and grind to powder all other kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So remember, the Most High's kingdom will be established at the destruction of the fourth kingdom. Every kingdom has borrowed from the kingdom that came before it. Therefore, even in the fourth kingdom, there are things that were taken from the Greeks, from the Medes and Persians, and from Babylon. But the fourth kingdom is the one that is currently in power. And the Most High will set up his kingdom, which will never be destroyed. And he shall completely demolish the fourth kingdom and everything that remains of the kingdom that came before. Verse 45. Whereas thou sawest that a stone was cut out of a mountain without hands, and it beat to pieces the earthenware, the iron, the brass, the silver, the gold, the great God has made known to the king what must happen hereafter. And the dream is true, and the interpretation thereof sure. So despite the apparent success of the children of Lucifer in ruling the world and mingling with the seed of men, they will soon be destroyed. To learn more about the destruction of the children of Lucifer, please listen to my teaching entitled, Can Gentiles Be Saved? That is, Can Gentiles Be Saved? In conclusion, we have learned, based on the interpretation of King Nebuchadnezzar's dream, that from the time of the prophet Daniel to this very day, there have been 4 kingdoms that ruled the world, and the fourth kingdom is still in power. Number 1, there was the Babylonian or Chaldean Empire. Number 2, the Empire of the Medes and Persians. Number 3, the Grecian Empire. And number 4, the Empire of the children of Lucifer. These are the ones who destroyed the original, ancient, true, black Romans and assumed their identity. This fourth empire is obsessed with mingling their alien seed with the seed of men. However, the Most High will soon return, overthrow their kingdom, and establish his own everlasting kingdom that will never be replaced. All praises to the Most High. I pray that those who seek to please the Most High would repent before the kingdom of the children of Lucifer comes to an end and it is too late. And with that I say, Shalom.